have any distractions, any noise. You can't be talking to anybody. You have to really concentrate on all the various joints. And if you were shooting a 150 frame shot, which is about 6 seconds long, that could take sometimes 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 hours, depending upon how complicated the scene was.
The nondescript exterior of this building in Berkeley, California, might suggest that nothing very interesting goes on here. But that is an illusion. Inside, some of Hollywood's most unusual characters are conjured up and brought to life for movies like Coneheads and RoboCop. This is the home of Phil Tippett, whose magical craft is stop-motion animation. Stop motion is the technique of photographing miniature puppets in a series of still frames. When projected at the standard film speed of 24 frames per second, persistence of vision takes over, and the puppet appears to take on a life of its own. For the animator, it is an intensive process. The puppet's body and limbs are moved in very small increments, and then a single frame of film is exposed to record the image. With absolute concentration to ensure that all the joints are moving in the desired direction with the desired momentum, the animator repeats the process for each frame.
I found that after finishing a shot, you're so focused on this particular thing, you step out, you finish your shot, and download the camera, and come on, you got to drive home. You got to wake up now.
During production of The Empire Strikes Back, Tippett and colleague John Berg spent several particularly challenging days animating the imposing Imperial walkers. The story called for the walkers to march across snow simulated by baking soda.
That could be a big problem, particularly if you had a cold and were sneezing, because it has a tendency to blow your set away, or if you made the wrong kind of move, or if you forgot what you were doing and put your elbow down, your elbow would disturb the set. We had made like little trap doors that we could crawl into the set and open up the trap doors that had perfect feathered edges on them. We'd get up and animate the puppets and close the trap doors back down. And they'd take a frame of film and open up the trap doors and animate the puppets.
While some stop motion methods remain the same, others have changed drastically with the advance of technology. Animator Phil Tippett, one of today's primary innovators, has a lifelong fascination with this art form.
My main inspiration came in 1950, what was it, 3 or 4, I think, or 5, when King Kong came on television. And in 58, I saw Harryhausen's 7th Voyage of Sinbad. I just fell in love with the surreality of the objects moving themselves. I had no idea what generated them, but it was just kind of a passionate fixation.
For The Empire Strikes Back, Tippett designed and animated the fleet-footed snow beasts called Tauntauns, which hold an important place in stop-motion history. Because the Tauntauns had to move quickly, the effects team wanted to replicate the motion blur seen in live-action photography of fast-moving objects. For example, in looking at footage of a dog running, the dog will appear blurred in each individual frame. With traditional stop-motion animation, the moving object maintains clearly defined edges in each frame of film. The absence of motion blur results in the slight strobing effect characteristic of stop motion. For the Tauntaun shots, the puppet was moved slightly along a motion control track with each opening of the camera shutter. This first use of motion blur with stop motion animation involved only the forward momentum of the puppet's body. In Tippett's next film, Dragon Slayer, a complex motion control system was built to add motion blur to all the puppet's movements. The process was so successful, it gave rise to a new term, go motion. More recently, as dinosaur supervisor on Jurassic Park, Tippett transmitted his stop-motion skills into the computer by use of a digital input device, providing animation for many key scenes, which were then rendered as computer-generated imagery.
Ultimately, no matter what tool you're using, whether it's stop motion, go motion, computer graphics, you're learning how to work with the limitations of the tools that you have. You have a mental image in your mind of what the thing should be moving like, and you're constantly moving. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be like this. And just trying to, keep all this stuff moving towards what you see in your mind's eye. you have a little movie in your head that you're running, back and forth, and it's your imagination. Usually, I think being fired up and enthused by something that you would like to see that you'd never seen before, coming to life is a tremendous inspiration.
As they continue to create movie magic one step at a time, stop-motion animators like Phil Tippet and the Kyoto brothers are carrying on the legacy of the craft's pioneers.